Welcome to the Powaful Impact podcast, where we interview people who had a powerful impact on the community, music, or the culture at large. I'm Sorak. Joining me tonight is SP, and we have Goddess and Neb. This evening, we have the honor of interviewing a special guest from the X-Clan, the Black Watch movement. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fan myself because of what he did and the X-Clan did for the hip hop culture. So we're just glad to have him tonight. And I just want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for joining us tonight, brotherJ.
Thank you, good brother. Thank you for having me. Peace to everyone.
Peace.
And I'm gonna start it off with the first question. Just want to get your backstory, and we're gonna dig deep tonight because there's a lot to talk about. I'm sure you have a lot of things to share with your experience and different things that you encountered in the culture. But where are you from originally, and how did that shape you as a person and your music career as an artist?
Well, I'm born in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Born in Bed-Stuy, raised in Flatbush, and the type of neighborhoods that we have, is rough to the outsiders, but as it becomes a norm, to move around and survive the way we do, it kind of creates that kind of hard shell, that's needed as a man. So, in my teenage years, I joined up with the Black Watch movement. I was introduced to the founder, Lumumba Carson, who's son of Sonny Carson, who was a leader in the Black nationalist movement. And Lumumba Carson was bringing hip hop and Black nationalism together. And as I remind people that Black nationalism is a concept for us to put ourselves together and improve ourselves. So, I was with that, as a young man, just wanting to see my people in a better position than stereotype to be, lesser than, the 3/5 of man kind of concept,
Mm-hmm.
So, I added my poetry. I created a group named X-Clan with my brother Sugar Shaft. And then we invited the founder of the Black Watch movement to join our group. And also Paradise Architect, with those are the original 4 horsemen of X-Clan. Okay. And that was in the late 80s, early 90s.
So I remember the first time I heard X-Clan, because I'm from Texas. So, it took a while for everything to filter down to my little space in our little country town. But I heard Head of the World.
Heed the word of the
brother.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first song I heard, and it was the first video I watched. And watching that video, I thought all of Brooklyn was like a Black History museum. Where was that? Where was that video shot?
That was in Brooklyn, New York. Ralph McDaniels was our video director and producer. Okay. And Ralph McDaniels is the head of Video Music Box. So, when he comes to capture us, he knows how to make any part of Brooklyn look like, like the theme that we're trying to keep. We were showing off our Black nationalist army. Mm-hmm. So he brought us to different regions of the city, and just let us flex, man. We had numbers and it was going down. And, a greater percentage of New York was like that. They free to wear their culture. New York is a variety of everything. It's a melting pot of cultures, all around the world. So, for us to example who we are as Africans here in the United States, we that's how we rock every day. That wasn't a video thing. You know what I'm saying? That's how we move around. So, yeah, all of that was shot in Brooklyn, New York. All that was shot in Brooklyn, New York, Atlantic Ave, right there where the Brooklyn Bridge is, off the expressway. And then we went to do different murals that our elders created. So they look at the video, Heed the Word. A lot of the background art was our elders, brought to us by Sonny Carson. And these brothers were Menelik and a few other artists there. They had incredible murals that were reminders of our indigenous history. Very powerful pieces on the bowling alleys, on the different walls throughout the city. So we made sure that in our videos, we always captured them in the background if they look at a lot of the art in the videos.
So y'all so inspired us. You had tribes of little Black kids in Texas walking around in dashikis. We were just mesmerized because it was the first time we had really ever saw, that kind of pride. Brand Nubians, Public Enemy, XClan, and we thought y'all were just gods at that point in time because we'd never seen that much Black pride all in once. You'd run to the TV just to see what you would say next. And we would take notes and we would go to the encyclopedias and look up everything y'all were talking about. So I know it's early in the interview, but I just wanted to thank you because y'all really shaped who we became. So thank you.
Thank you, sis. And that means a lot. That's what I was writing for, to remind people that the creator is in us. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we bond first. With that kind of courage, you can example who you are to the highest levels. You know what I'm saying? So we sprinkled that in our music and used the platform of hip hop to put that forward. That had not been done before. Black nationalism has been in music. We're not the first, but for us to do that in an era where ego and the new dance of the day and all kind of stuff was the priority, it was a change for the industry. And I'm glad that it impacted people, like you're saying. I appreciate you.
It really did. So I just can't say it enough. Thank you.
All right, good night. Thanks for coming to Powaful Impact. That was awesome, brother Jay. It was awesome, man. Job well done.
I just had to get that out because I don't think y'all really hear how much y'all touched us and changed us and made us fight so hard for hip hop as a culture. We believed it, we accepted it, and we fought for it. And it was because of you guys. And I don't think y'all get enough thanks. And I just wanted to give you your praise.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Blessings, goddess.
Especially in the South as well, because like she was saying, I'm in Florida. And so we didn't have those outlets that we could just drive to the street and go to a bookstore and grab anything about Blackness or anything where, related to Pan-Africanism or being Afrocentric. That came through the form of video from what we saw, what you projected on television through music videos and, the Public Enemies and Native Tribe and different ones like that who was really pushing that forward. So, I'm not going to add, I'm just going to confirm with her, even though she's from Texas, I'm in Florida, that was just one of those challenges we had in the South. So, I definitely understand where SP is coming from with that.
Indeed. So, that's what we felt hip hop was supposed to be used for. This is where we connect to the Black nationalism of it all. You imagine if all the talented groups that were Black artists spoke in that vein, it would have been dominating, over any genre, because the content and the positive expression can't stop that. That's all ages, that's, every generation, so we were just trying to set the blueprint to show people that you can hit the charts with this kind of music. Our album, we weren't full of hooks and street anthems. People were memorizing our lyrics and learning, doing research. So, we were just basically showing, and this was me as a young man learning the music industry because, I was in a movement. I wasn't trying to be, rapper of the year or anything like that. I just felt it was a bullhorn for what all the elders were showing us. You know what I'm saying? I could just, get all of this information and data and, and true and living data by being out there in the front line and just combine that into a different structure of a song. You know, we want to be as a blueprint and an inspiration for people, you know, for even people who didn't rap. You know, it's like, yo, be proud of yourself, you know, be proud of where you come from, do further research on who you are, and don't let nobody, you know, tell you who you are. You know what I'm saying? Or write your script. You know, we write the note, as my elder Sonny would say, you know?
Okay.
Real talk.
So your name. How did you get your name?
Or the Grand Verbalizer?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't an MC. You know, I wasn't, you know, I paid dues as an MC coming up, but, you know, being in that position of X-Clan, you know, a different title was, you know, was earned, you know, and I became the verbalizer of my team, which is like, you know, saying like activists, making rap and activism into raptivism. So the Grand Verbalizer, the one who brings forth the action, you know, that's where the title comes in. And then Funk and Lesson, that was my style. You know what I'm saying? You know, to put the funk in the lesson, you can go on a record and just be CNN and just tell people, you know, this for that. But when you can combine it and you bump into that kind of knowledge at the club, you can bang it in the car, you know, where it's universal, you know, that's the funk, you know, to me. So combining that with the knowledge, Grand Verbalizer, Funk and Lesson, and then, you know, BrotherJ, you know, the brother of justice, you know, that's what it is. Yeah.
Dope.
I like that. I got a quick question. So let's go back a little bit in time. How did the X-Clan group even get started? Take us back to that story.
You know, as I said, when I joined that movement, I was, you know, training in security, you know, meeting different elders. You know, I remember meeting, you know, Dr. Sabi and Al Sharpton's and Dick Gregory's and things of that nature. You know, when they came to Brooklyn, you know, we would be security in different places, you know, when they connecting with Sonny and coming into Bed-Stuy, Boys and Girls High, different places to speak. So, you know, Lumumba Carson, as a founder of Black Watch, he also was in management of artists. So he would bring different artists to Brooklyn for different festivals. You know, if they were having the Marcus Garvey Day or Malcolm X Day or anything like that, you know, Lumumba would reach out in hip hop and bring different artists. You know, this is when I started meeting people, Just Ice and Kane and, you know, and you know, different artists that were popular in hip hop. You know, New York is its own bubble of, you know, of MCs and entertainers. So, you know, I did a demo for, as a security member, I did a demo for the house because me and Shaft, my brother Shaft, God bless him, my DJ, we put together a little demo in our basement, and the brother architect brought us to Ultra Magnetic's house. And they created a little demo for us. I made a song called It's a Black Thing, just to let my elders know that, you know, I believe in your son's vision, and I write like that. I wrote like that coming in here, and the marriage of the movement and what I have, I think could make, you know, some heat. You know what I'm saying? As far as for people to recognize the movements, you know, y'all trying to get young heads out of gangs and stuff like that, and get them into training and, you know, building their mind. I think I have a little something. You know, I was about 16. Kicking that to them, you know, 16 years old. So,
that name,
yeah.
How did you come up with the name X-Clan?
Oh, X-Clan is representative of the Crossroads. So it's basically like Crossroad Click, you know. Yeah. So you know, the Crossroads are how all of our generations came together in one place. You know, originally I was thinking in the vein of Generation X because of what my generation was labeled. But when I added professor and architect to the piece, And I started studying Alegba. I understood that the X represented the crossroads. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can be an artist and be in your own head, but when the universe speaks, you kind of listen and move forward. You know what I'm saying? So as the crossroad click, it made sense. You know, why would my elder brothers want to get inside of a group, a little, you know, young Black group, you know, speaking whatever? They were honored to be a part of what we were trying to do as far as merge the generations together. So so XClan became the crossroad click.
Dope. That's dope. And I noticed the ankh around your neck. I know that has a special meaning. Well, what does that mean to you?
It's what it is. It's woman and man, you know, creating the universe. We have everlasting life within us.
Yes.
So yes. So to understand that, and you know, in every walk of life, you know, the writings on the wall. You know, my aunt speaks to us all if we just listen and read.
Yep.
You know, so you know that represents a lot to me. You know, a lot of dues with this on my neck. You know.
I love it. That's dope.
Blessings, goddess.
So, Rack, you.
Yeah, definitely. And since we were talking, and you did mention it a moment ago about the Black Watch movement, and what they were doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying it was helping get people out of gangs and things of that nature. What other roles or what other part did they play in the community? Because I'm sure they was doing some significant things at that time and continue to do, as a matter of fact. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that a little more?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One thing Black Watch was present.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I used to make fun of all the bookworms who studied all the knowledge and never went front line to stand with their people. You know, we can't be afraid of our people, and we can't be afraid of the crisis we face in the streets. So Black Watch, you know, we could be coming off a 2-month tour and something happened in our city and the elders say, hey man, we need the presence of the soldiers, and it's not even a question. There is no, oh, it's Christmas and you know I gotta do some things, or you know I want to go out with my girl, or none of that. You know what I'm saying? We were as the soldiers are to the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, we were that to our elders, and we were that for our people. So Black Watch was present, you know, and then, you know, spearheading, you know, Black nationalism in the music and to rap music, you know, as we did, is a big thing. That's a responsibility in itself. You know, the foolishness has never stopped in music. You know what I'm saying? As far as the goofiness and the waste of the airtime, you know, we ask for freedom of speech, and then we get it. Yeah. And then all people want to do is act like, you know, Ronald McDonald, you know, put on the mask and do the dance. You know what I'm saying? It's coonish, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we were just trying to snap people out of it. They act like, you know, it's the fault of this generation now, the millennials, about the foolishness. And I say, no, you know, that foolishness is rooted from day one in this game, because usually industries are giving you checks to be goofy. They're not giving you checks to be, you know, a powerful mind and a supreme mind. They're not giving you that. They're giving it to you to shuck and jive. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just amazed that cats haven't gotten it for so long and continue to shuck and jive. I'm blown away by that. You know, this kind of brought me back. I would have loved to retire from the game, you know what I'm saying? And just been like, you know, they got it. But, you know, to a lot of the legends who were thinkers, it's not going to be another you. This game was programmed to make sure that there are no longer artists who think like us or flow in our cadence, or even the type of beats that we listen to. You know, hip hop was a child of our parents. We would take it from their record shelves and stuff like that to make our music and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? They have programmed this thing to where we're not welcome. You know, how do we build this and then, you know, the house is done and you boot us out and lock the door? That doesn't make sense. You know, so I'm here to kind of, you know, get back into the house and move things around a little bit, you know. That's what's up.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because you are seeing that. And, you know, I don't feel like some of the and I don't want to use the word old school hip hop artists. I just want to say, you know, pioneers and people that paved the way for the culture. You know what I'm saying? Because I respect the culture and I respect those who paved the way because I'm an artist myself. But with that being said, I'm grateful that there are artists like yourself and those who were rapping in the 90s and the 80s that's coming back out, that's resurfacing, because we need to get that balance again. Like you say, you do see the coonery, but you do see where the record labels want to spend money on getting certain messages out there. They don't want what you have to say or what you're saying, or those who bring a conscious message. They don't want that to be heard. And that's a constant battle that we're seeing. What do you think is something that could be done to kind of overshadow that message? Because we know nowadays record labels don't really want to cut check for people that's talking about conscious music. They don't want even radio shows, they don't want to provide too much of a platform for you to be heard. So there's that constant battle of getting that message out there. What do you think of some things that can be done just to kind of move the message forward and somehow bring balance to the culture?
Well, I think, brother, that the first thing is don't wait for permission.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is a free flowing form of expression.
Absolutely.
So if you're waiting, you know what I'm saying? So if you're waiting for a commercial brand to back you, that's not the way. You know, look, I've had a whole other career outside of the first albums that we're talking about. You know, I came out to California. I found a small independent company that was willing to build with me. You know, BroJ.X, who was one of the founders of the Cottonmouth Kings, he had a label named Suburban Noise.
Okay.
And you know, my manager approached them. You know, they had never had black groups on their brand. You know, it was a suburban label. You know, so they gave me an opportunity, man. I toured there for like 7 years. Did 2 albums, did tours with all kind of people. You know, I just went to a whole different grid. I think people just want to be popular the way they dream in their head, so they stop themselves from being successful. If you talk a message that says F the system, then why would you go ask the system for money?
That's a good point. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Why would you go and say, hey, record company that's owned by Sony and this and that, why would you go to them? They love the system. Okay. So, you know, unless you're invited and you consider the invitation, but don't spend your whole lifetime trying to scrape on their door and then get mad like, oh, you don't like my kind of artistry. You got to go and improve. You got to go and improve to a point where you make such a noise and an explosion that they got to turn their head. They got to get up from their desk and see what that commotion is, dog. You know, so, you know, maybe some of these artists don't try hard enough. You know, that's what I say. I don't blame and create this horn devil with a tail behind the desk saying no conscious music. You know what I'm saying? I don't create those kind of illusions. We got enough spook mysteries in the world that people, you know, get caught up in. But the thing is, the overall point is improve yourself, your quality. If you came in the door saying one thing, then go back and build a group. Look at the Fugees. You know, they were a little rap group walking back and forth at one time. But they, you know, they got tired of people seeing them mediocre. They went and improved.
Yep, that's what it is. That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? People act like Lauryn Hill just came out at that time. She had already been through the, you know, the BS and getting considered as, you know, one of the female rappers. You're all right, whatever. And then now she's, you know, an icon. She improved, you know, just to be a receipt on what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate
think a lot of the times,
okay,
these artists aren't just wanting to break into the system. I think they want to be a part of the system, and they use the message in order to gain popularity, and then they break into the system, and then all of a sudden Trump is their daddy.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Good point.
That's what it is. They accept that check. You know, Trump is about that check. You know, step on a million people, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be above that. You got to say, I got my bread too. Respect me. You know what I'm saying? No matter who you are, in office or A&R or label president or whatever. Yo, man, we have our own. You know, we have so much opportunity. All the years of hip hop, man. It's a shame that the catalog of conscious artists is minimum, bro. That's just backwards. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand it, man. But you know, I don't let it stress me. I just know my purpose, and I know how I develop artists. Artists around me don't think like that. Exactly. You know, once they get a gist of what we have to offer, it's not about me and X-Clan and look at me putting out records. I don't have that in my system. I'm just saying that there has to be a blueprint. All right, because if you try to erase all of the knowledge of who we are by not including us in rotation as much as you rotate this foolishness, then we have to make a different noise. We have to come with our own machine and our own distribution and our own brand of label, and the people have to be ready to support it. You know, you can't talk all this stuff and then when the platform is set, you turn your back. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a support system. You know, look at all these artists that springboard off rap. You know, these privileged artists that step in, they don't have, you know, I was talking about Vanilla Ice. You know what I'm saying? You were a placed rapper. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have that history and that long run with us. You came out with, and you were placed. I hate that kind of privileged rap. It's like, yo, man, let us grow with you. Look at the difference of him and the Eminem. You were raised with Eminem. You know what I'm saying? You seen this dude battle and tell his life story and get bashed down. You know, you corny white boy. You go through all the shit. Tell your story on that level. I don't want to see you polished and just placed in front of us. You know what I'm saying? Any of the groups that we talk about today, X-Clan, all of this, we playing dudes in the streets, you know, fighting for our people, and then write about that so people can see that in history. So these artists have to say the same thing in their mind, like, yo, man, what's my story? Am I going out here just for ego, or am I going out here to make a mark? You know what I'm saying? For whatever my ethnicity is, let me represent for my people. So if you white, green, red, whatever you are, where you come from. And when you come to this mic, you representing your culture. When we see you, we think about the rest of your people. Right? So if you talking intelligent shit, you say, oh man, Native Americans are very intelligent. You know, oh shit, Chinese people are very intelligent. The way that you did that was dope, a different cadence. We should be looking at music like that. But everybody try to do the same thing. And then you influence other countries. They now twerking and carrying on. And like here. How somebody in another country, you know, another country's got their hat to the side trying to act like us. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? And if we have that much influence, dog, we really need to rethink how music is being set. Real deal.
And not only that, if we have that much influence, then we need to understand how much influence our dollars have.
Yes,
and
indeed.
concentrate those. That's where the issue is.
That's right. That's right. It's a lot of waste in this, you know, buying all kind of merchandise and this and that. The artists got to get a different cause. When you touch that merchandise, they're building something when they touch your stuff. We shouldn't just be feeding you dollars to splurge and bug out in front of us, man. Come on, dog. You know, they got to be a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Even when we launch our project, bro, I don't launch anything until all of our causes are set. Everything that we're saying. So if it's 10% going to something that we feel is solid as a cause, then we get out here and market for that. We're not marketed for buy our stuff, put it on the chart, put it up. You know, we want to be better than Jay-Z. Nah, man, it ain't that. We're not competing. You know what I'm saying? We're rechanneling, like the sister said, the consumer's dollar into wise places because they hesitate to do positive things. Shit, if you like us, we are a portal. That's what we worked for the movement back then. You know, movement don't make no money. How you make money in a movement? Think about it.
What do you say? Let me ask you a question. What do you say to an artist who goes in to the industry with those intentions? They want to make a difference. They want to create a movement. But then as they get more involved or get more attention, now they're getting, you know, propositions to make more money. You can see like they're having to make a choice between why they really went into this industry versus now they can have the option of like really making some money if they go mainstream. But that might be watering down what they used to do, or maybe even go into a different type of a music genre. What do you say to an artist who's at that crossroad where they're like, man, I came in here, you know, with this great intention, but now here's where I'm at?
I understand. The first thing is you got to stay your course. And if you know what your goal is, if mainstream is not part of your goal, then you refuse the offer. Okay? It's not really too much to think about. All right. So if you went into this thing and say, yo, I just need to be an uncontrolled bullhorn for the people. Now, when you accept higher deals, the responsibility of managing your time changes. Okay, you're no longer in charge of your day to say, yo, I got to go to a rally or go to a food giveaway or whatever it is. They're telling you 15 minutes of radio, then you're going here, then we're flying you to Canada, then you're doing whatever. So all of the things that you did in your regiment to become this street soldier of music, all those disciplines are being broken down because now you start living somebody else's clock. Okay. So you got to say to yourself, look, instead of me taking that big money, just give me a bigger split where I'm at. All right. I don't need the extra. I don't need you to pay me up front. If I'm getting more popular, you give me a little bit more room on the current deal that I have, and I can decide where those dollars come in and channel my thing. You can't get curious of the other side of that curtain. Okay. That's where the problem becomes. Because you using that curiosity, like, yo, let me just peep in there. Let me do a club style joint so I can get back there and rub elbows with 50 and do whatever. And then you get drunk off the environment that you in. You know, that altitude is heavy. And you start throwing all your cash to live around there. And you start throwing all your cash to drink around them and smoke around them. This is a different tier. Now you're going to be living depending on the game to feed you, rather it being a pleasure to come in, just make a little dollars and channel some money in a couple of areas. All right. So they got to say to themselves, nah, I don't need that bread. All right. If somebody ran out of bank and handed you a bag of money, you going to just take it and start spending it? You're going to say, no, I don't want no part of that trouble. Same mentality with this record game. When they come and say, yo, let's buy you or let me buy into you, you say, let me think about that. Let me think about how that places me, because sometimes that platform may be good. Look what it did for the Roots. Okay, they don't even have to depend on rap anymore. You go play instruments at a after night show or whatever case may be and make more money than platinum album. You know what I'm saying? So taking that back for them, it didn't compromise them. It just said, yo, these dudes are dope musicians. It doesn't make Black Thought any lesser. He didn't sell out or anything. He just said, yo, those dudes been signed on Def Jam for the longest time. And the only artist you hear on those labels is Nas or whoever else is signed in their set. You don't ever hear shit about the Roots. And these dudes are the best musicians in the game. Okay, this is a group that can stand next to George Clinton or James Brown type of shit, the way that they get down. Why we don't hear none of they get down? They took the right bag. Okay, they didn't take the wrong bag. They didn't take the bag that said, yo, Black Thought, I want you to put on some penny loafers and some hammer pants, and I want y'all to speed up the tempo. We gonna do whatever. He didn't take that bag.
Yeah.
He took the other bag that said, yo, man, respect my group. You know, let us get that cheese that we deserve for what we deserve to be seen globally, you know, every night, or whatever case may be. That's a decision. Just giving you an example of what you were saying.
I think that sometimes it could be kind of, I hear what you're saying, but I think for some artists, it's easier said than done because they get kind of, you know, drawn into that limelight. Like, wait a minute, I could be a superstar. I could, you know what I'm saying? I could really, you know, blow up. But I think it comes down to character. You know, you got people in the game that say, hey, that's not what I'm about. And they stay true to their character. And then you got others who just, they fall, like they just can't help it. They fall into that temptation of going into, you know, that mainstream and doing something. Now they're not conscious rappers anymore. Now they're just
that's a very good point. I didn't mean to cut you, but that's a very good point. The second part of that answer is eldership, having the guidance there. Don't bring an elder that likes to get drunk with you. bring the elder that's gonna say, yo, we done had 3 shots, we're good. Let's get up out of here. Okay? That part. Now, if you're a conscious artist, that's a must. Period. If you just rapper Willie, you know, fresh ski, whatever, you do whatever you want to do. The game is yours. You're in there to generate units and make it and turn it up. But as a conscious artist, it's a must to have an elder in your camp, at least one.
right.
Okay? Because that's going to be the one to say, yo, man, you off your square.
Right.
You know, the elder that's going to be, we up at 5 in the morning. It's time to train. Our sound check is not till 12. Y'all not going to sit in here in your drawers, sitting on the phone, talking to your girl for all of these hours. You know what I'm saying? The elder that's going to do that. All right. So that's to answer what you're saying. That eldership is where you stay on course. When the agreements come and you're talking it out with your lawyers and so on, you have your elder there to make sure that you're accepting the right deal that keeps you in place, not something to where you're selling your ass. That's how we maintain. That's why we didn't take the wrong back.
Okay. I feel that. Well said. Thank you. Makes
Indeed.
sense.
Indeed.
All right.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask what I know symbols are very important and they have a lot of meaning. We talked about the Ankh, the pink Cadillac.
Well, what about the caddy? You say you want to know what it's about?
Yeah.
All right. So the caddy is our time machine. If you look at the cover of East Blackwoods, the way that it's diving to the center of the crossroads, and then you see elders from the past and then soldiers of the present and future all throughout the cover. So similar to what Back to the Future was doing with the McLaren vehicle or whatever, you know, we wanted to have that kind of a get down for our situation. It was originally a transformed Mercedes Benz. It was called Mere Ages Has Been, and we changed that because you know it's complicated. This is music, you know what I'm saying. You got to think simple, and you got to think start. You know what I'm saying. So, you know, the pink Cadillac is something that, you know, if it rode through our neighborhood, somebody got some bread, and somebody got courage, you know, to ride around in a pink vehicle, and they're, you know, they're not feeling challenged like, you know, you're gonna call them a sissy or anything. It's never that. You know what I'm saying. We are the flavors of the universe. So the caddy represents the time machine traveling through dimensions of blackness, science, and African science. That's what the caddy was. So it was like a little mascot for us. It kind of brought a little levity to the seriousness that we represented, you know.
So let's do a we may as well go on a run with these questions because everybody seems to have
let's do it.
Questions about the stuff that's in y'all's music. So let's just go on a run. What did Professor X mean when he said, "Meet me at the crossroads"?
The same reason of what brought us together. The Creator brings all things to the center of the road. Okay, and we're looking for travelers, not wanderers. A wanderer travels with no home. All right, a traveler knows where he comes from. So when he says, "Meet me at the road," travelers, the worthy, the chosen, come to the road and let's build and cipher. That's what that means, and from that terminology. Yes.
The goddess.
Okay. Let's see here. Wardrobe and wooden staves. wardrobe and wooden staffs.
And the nose rings.
What?
And the clothes.
What's up with the wardrobe, the wooden staffs, and the nose rings?
Right. That's how we dress. I mean, again, I think people thought that we dressed up for the video or something. You know what I'm saying? Those, for instance, our staffs were made one of a kind by an elder who blessed us. You know, as travelers, those staffs were staffs of travelers, crossroads. You know, letting it all connect. The earring thing was something where, you know, they were similar to like medals. You know, I used them as medals. So like if we were doing a rally against police brutality, or, you know, one of our brothers in you know, like Yusef Hawkins situation where we had to stop the Brooklyn Bridge with thousands of people, you know, that day was a victory for us, you know, because the city stood still, you know, for us to mourn our brother. You know what I'm saying? So I would put an earring to represent the moment. So it was like a medal. So, you know, I had like 6 different earrings and, you know, in my ears for significant, you know, battles that we fought, you know. So everybody had a little definition to their thing. But again, even the jury thing was not an ego thing. It was usually like some people did theirs when they were coming up in levels. You know, we had a protocol in our movement. So some people would, you know, celebrate it with that. Some people would get a certain kind of bead or necklace to symbolize their level. So, you know, it was purpose. You know, we really, anything that you adorn should have a history to remind you of who you are, and not just to adorn you for beauty, you know, feeding the ego too much. You know, you do things that look nice, but you should really do things, you know, and blend it with a little purpose. You know, when you wear a ring or something from your father, your mother, my grandfather had this for many generations. You know, you can kind of remind yourself so you don't put your hand in dumb shit with that ring on. Excuse my language, but you know, that's the real.
You're good.
You know what I'm saying? So you know, you just, when every time you go to do something stupid, you look at that ring and you say, well, damn, will my grandfather do something like this? It kind of pleases you. You know what I'm saying? You wear your mom's pearls. Would you go out and just toss yourself around to anyone? No, you would not. You know what I'm saying? You would say, well, you know, what would my grandmother do? How would she reserve herself? You know, how would she put her grace into the moment? So the African beads are no different than that, you know. So all the staffs and the stuff that we wear, the clothes, a lot of that stuff was custom. You know, we live royal. You know what I'm saying? We channeled that and channeled that into our look. So when we moved around, it wasn't like we were flossing. It was like, yo, we got more bread to dress more soldiers and to continue to live as we live every day. So when we moving around the streets, that's how we move. You know what I'm saying? I got basketball shorts with kente cloth, symbols and all kinds of shit. You know, anything that we do should be, you know, who you are. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we were trying to impress that in everything, and we weren't saying like do it for someone to see us doing that. That was our lifestyle. That was our regimen.
How you expressed yourself. It was how you expressed yourself.
That's correct. That's correct.
What did vainglorious mean?
Vainglorious was a terminology created by Professor X, meaning victory, meaning freedom. You know, it's, you know, people try to connect to correct us all the time, like, you know, because the dictionary says vainglorious or whatever. That's not what the word was. You know what I'm saying? We had several levels of vocabulary. Again, I like Professor because he wasn't afraid to bend the line. Like, there's no rules. We're in hip hop. If we want to create, you know, vocabulary, that's what we do. You know, so now when people say vainglorious, you know, when they say it, it's like a feeling of like, relaxing. You know, being black is a pleasure. It's not a struggle. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a struggle. You know, that's why we fight for justice. But, you know, being black is wonderful. So, you know, vainglorious kind of brings that energy out. You know what I'm saying? Say it as a free man. Say it as a free woman. You know what I'm saying? And be at peace with yourself. That's what the word promotes. So so it was a word created by my brother. And I put it in my music and I move around with it. And You know, that's what it is.
What was the red and black and green with the key?
Oh, of course, the liberation flag. You know, Marcus Garvey was very strong in promoting the liberation flag, red, black, and green, for the blood and the people, freeing the earth, freeing the land. And then the key of life, as we spoke earlier about the Ankh. You know, the Ankh is the key of life. So we combine those as our flag and we move forward in the name of our people.
I like that.
So how did Black Watch and the Zulu Nation kind of come together?
Well, Professor X and Professor X and Bambaataa knew each other from youth when they were part of gangs. That was one of the things about Sonny Carson, is that he brought a lot of gangs together to do positive things. So they met years ago when Bam was a part of the Black Spades movement, Black Spades gang. And then Lumumba was associated with Jolly Stompers and Tomahawks of Brooklyn. And then the gangs of the Bronx became the Zulu Nation. And then Lumumba moved on to create the Black Watch movement. So, you know, that was how Zulu and Black Watch were cousins. You know what I'm saying? We're not the same movement, but we were cousins through them, the founders of those movements coming together years ago when Sonny Carson was uniting gangs of New York from Brooklyn to the Bronx, and while he was filming The Education of Sonny Carson.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about Dave Chappelle's special, because he used the logo. The logo is also the same colors y'all use, red, black, and green, with a capital C in the middle. Yes. And we hear Professor X's voice, Vainglorious. Did you know they were going to use his voice?
Oh, actually, people were calling me when it went down. Of course, we see it in the royalty side of things and whatnot, but I was honored because what he's doing is what the red, black, and green is about. You're making your stand. You know what I'm saying? It's the flag of liberation. So he's liberating himself from all of this foolishness and making his ground. And I applaud that tremendously. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I said, we don't own red, black, and green. We were just people that represented it and pushed the definition into the minds that need to use that, you know, as a reminder, like people die for this every day. You know, every day that we're treated in a messed up manner, you know what I'm saying, degrading us, you know, that's not the ways of the flag. So when Dave got up there and spoke about the racism that's coming from all these new sections of people, you know, people are creating different sections for themselves. You know, the alphabet gets longer every day. And it's like, well, you know, you never dealt with us. You know what I'm saying? It's not about giving us some bread and some casinos and to cover up the pain and the bullshit that's been happening to us for centuries now. You know what I'm saying? So you're letting people skip the line, and then you're creating new rules in the midst of that and telling me how to talk and to tippy toe around it and shit. So somebody had to say something. You know what I'm saying? We, at the end of the day, we all human beings here. You know, no matter what you choose to love and deal with or whatever. So, you know, you gotta have sacred space for everybody. And I think he spoke for our sacred space. Like, you know, okay, you getting your thing on, but don't make it to where every time we stand up and say, well, I want my son raised in a different way. The way that you're promoting a norm was a way that we were punished at one time. So some people have like a taboo. You can't force it and say, well, this is the new norm, get over yourself. You know, that's not what's happening, you know, for a lot of people. And I think he stood up for that. And and it wasn't done in a separatist manner. Just like when I say black nationalism, I'm not saying black people are better than whoever. I'm not concerned about who they're better than. I'm concerned about them improving, period. Okay? So just like countries come here and they all about their people and how they get down and improving their country and who they represent, we should be about ours. In the same fashion, it doesn't stop me from shaking your hand or being able to sit at the table, but you're not going to dog me while I sit at the table of humanity because I didn't focus on me and trying to live out somebody else's culture and live out somebody else's rules. So I thought it was a genius way to do that on that platform. I thought it was excellent.
So when we talk, you said when we talk about us as a people and the fact that this has been a 400+ year struggle, and we've seen this country give reparations to everybody and their mama. But for some reason, when it comes to us, there seems to always be an issue.
Yes.
When we send people, we send these people to Congress, and I guess this is the question I want to ask you about voting. Okay. I've always said that I've never felt that either party was for us. We just vote for the one who's going to do the least amount of damage to us.
Right.
So do you think this is still the way to move forward?
As far as voting is concerned?
Trying to participate in this country's system, when this system is always beating us down, and it doesn't matter which party is in office. It's just one does it less.
Right. I agree. Now, the realization is the system was not created to treat us fairly. All right. So there is no one. We've already witnessed black president coming through to just patronize us. You know what I'm saying? It's, shut up, niggers. You'll see it in your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that he can do in that seat to change that system because it was not built for us. Now, I'm glad you said this, because the thing that Q was attempting to do is the way to me, because if those type of documents say everybody who is black sign this document saying that we're going to vote for what is best for us. All right. Now, you don't do it on their clock. I think that's the thing that happened with that document. I think it was bad timing. And I think the ways that they tried to advertise it through the Hollywood medium was whack, because you should not be sitting talking with Vivica Fox and the girl crew about such a serious document. You kind of degrade the seriousness. But, we have to be put in a place where we have some kind of electorate power, some kind of, how Trump won the presidency. He didn't win the popular vote. He won the electorate. Am I mistaken? Wasn't it?
You're correct.
You're correct. Yeah, you're correct.
All right. So what we should be trying to figure out is, how do we get a couple of those? How do we get a couple of those where it shifts the vote if you don't cater to us as far as basic living and respect? Okay. People should not be getting shot in their back. That, more so than creating a law, the penalty should be clear. Okay. So those are one of the many things that we have to look at. But the key thing is that we're not organized as a people. We're too loose. Okay. We're too spread out. A lot of people who get their reparations and stuff, they don't really mix with a lot of different things. They kind of stay their ground of who they mate with and who they deal with. They don't really step out of their situation, and they usually come as one force. So you know how people, why is there Chinatown? Why is there Little Italy? Why is there, you know, all these little things? No Africa Town, no Africaville or whatever. You know, we're never considered in that. You know what I'm saying?
Every one of them they built parks on, or destroyed, or set on fire, drop bombs on them, you know.
Tulsa, Rosewood.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, we have to keep building regardless. It's done as a fear tactic to stop us from building. So back to the voting. If we always lose at the voting platform, why are we not figuring out how we, you know, set up to become some of the electorate votes? Like, we should have about 12 of them. You know, it's not a matter of money. We can get a couple of celebrities with us and say, yo, we want to get together and put the people behind making some shift. Because I'm sure them people who voted for Trump had conditions. That dude had the whole Midwest. You saw how that red was on that map when they showed the votes and all of that. He had that whole section red. Okay, all the farming, all the people that could benefit from America being a business. All right, you got land, I'll build a factory on your grounds, and I'll send you a couple of workers, and y'all go ahead and build for America. We're gonna put the wall around the country and build. Some people was happy as fuck. They was happy. You know what I'm saying? They had something to offer, and we as Black people, what do we come with? Well, I'm a good consumer. You know, if you don't cater to me, I'm gonna stop buying whatever the hell. Come on, man. Them people got bread to wait you out. Just like how Gucci, don't wear Gucci was good for a minute, and then cats got right back in it all over again. They wait you out every time. Okay, so same thing with the politics. Y'all want to hate, all this other thing. You know, we'll just wait you out. You know what I'm saying? They gave you all them Obama years, kept that man in there for you, so you couldn't say, well, why is no Black president? You can't say that no more. But what has it done for me? Y'all gave him agendas that had nothing to do with us. That's why I say the system is messed up. All them agendas are coming through on a process machine. So you notice all of those other presidents stepped out, and then Obama gets the LGBT laws and the this and that, and setting all the bathroom signs of 3 people and all kind of different things on the desk. You know, what is the use of being the president and you can't really dictate what you want to put down? You know, when the Mayor Koch was in New York, he built all of the Jewish temples in the world, all over the city. He did whatever he wanted to do. When they're in power, they have their agenda set. Okay, when we're in power, we can't do a thing, and we don't reach for the power. We need the power. It's not about Black Lives Mattering. It's about Black power being established and set. Not about our lives. They want you to live to be a slave.
I think part of the problem is we've been so trained to make whiteness comfortable.
Correct.
So
and we have to stop that. Permission.
Even when we're in power, it's always leaning towards not being assertive or being viewed as the aggressor. It's always in an effort to make whiteness comfortable.
Correct.
And I think that's an issue that really needs to be addressed, because I see these young people talking about, I don't want to know nothing about no Greenwood. Tell me something about stocks and bonds today. But if you don't know about those things, then you can't see the future. You're always going to repeat.
That's correct. So now, what do they do for that? They put the information age, so there's no excuse. All right? So there's no more, I want to know, and you don't give it to me anymore. There's none of that. You can go on your phone and find out everything damn near you want to know in the world 85% of all the stuff on your mind right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no excuse right now. There's no more. You stole my legacy. There's no more of that. Now, not only can you get the information online, but now you can get in contact with people that have more sense and have more access to things. So there's no excuses anymore. I think we're so used to having the excuse that we've become lazy, man. You know, this is a matter of mental and physical laziness.
Let me just
all day long.
real quick. You know what? I'm sorry to cut you off, but like while we're still on this topic, now as a writer, I do a lot of research and reading. Especially when it comes to these kind of things. And one of the things that I've discovered is a lot of conversation around the fall of power, where there's going to be a big transition in wealth, where the system that used to work for the last, I don't know, 100 years maybe, or 50, 60 years, it's about to collapse because of technology, now because of cryptocurrency, just the modern way of how life is unfolding. Like you said, now resources are available for everybody. So at a time when you didn't think you could, do this or do that because you didn't know the right people, or you weren't in the right circle, or you didn't think that you had the ability to do it, even though in your heart you probably thought you could, but now you have all these platforms available, so you can, any type of skill that you have, it's out there for you. So
that's right.
With this transition, do you feel like, how do you think it's going to affect, I guess, a lot of people overall when this transition starts to take place, like especially when it comes to technology, cryptocurrency? Because a lot of times all of these wealthy people, or what they call old money, they did not believe in this cryptocurrency. They did not believe, they feel like this is just a fad or a trend. But now you have a lot of banks getting involved. You got credit, Visa, Master, all of these people now are getting involved in this space, and everyone has access to it. So how do you think that's going to affect a lot of people overall?
Well, one, if you didn't follow the instructions of our elders, which was free the land, you're going to have a hard time. All right. The whole purpose of us getting free was to obtain land. All right. So now there's so many different options of winning. They've now created this virtual, currency, which will break the company, which will break the country if it's not balanced correctly. Because people are doing that to hoard. Look, to me, I thought the cryptocurrency was just a knockoff before the U.S. digital dollar was going to be introduced. Okay, I thought it was just like a knockoff. But I looked at it again and I said, this is a different kind of freedom that can be created. You're basically offering me another universe to activate in. Okay, a place where you can't judge me white or black. Or any of that. Okay, that's how I saw this thing. I didn't take it as, oh man, this is just a fad. Everybody's going to put money in some kind of pyramid scheme, or whatever the other excuses that people put up when they hear crypto put up. But most of the people that were doubting ended up putting money into it anyway and receiving good funds back. Okay, and they saw it as a chance. Look. The money that we're looking for, the money from the government, feed me my reparations, it comes in different ways if you really look, and look into different avenues. It may not be handed to you, but the opportunity is there. If you get your land set up and you have your trust set up, you gotta look at things that make you sovereign in this country. All right. You look at all the people that we're talking about, all these big Rockefellers and all of that. Look at the things that they established. All right. To keep themselves immune from the corporation that they fuel every day. We have to think in that fashion. Now that this cryptocurrency thing is happening, is really starting off as a rebellion for artists, because through the blockchain, which is his own system and network of how to trace your artwork. That's the one thing when the music industry was created, they never gave you a chance to trace where your music is going. Right. All right. If you bought a record from me in 1990, a piece of vinyl, and then 1995, that vinyl is worth $150. Me as the artist, I never get paid again. I only got paid from the 1099. But in the metaverse, I get paid every time that record is sold. I get paid as an artist.
Yes.
Okay.
I love
so,
that.
Yes. So you think about, there's other ways to take all the magnificent things that we know, the leaders that we tribute, moments in sports, all kinds of different things. If you can put artwork around those moments, you know what I'm saying? There are people that would accept that. Now they're exchanging, you know, the community of artists around the world are angry. So they're making that NFT a way out. Yes. Okay. They're making that NFT a way out. And I'm still staying on the country thing and how it would break if it's not done correctly. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to channel those sources to become, you don't need grants from the government anymore because you just got 2 Bitcoins for 1 picture. Okay. Now you can start funding the art, the warehouse, and not having to ask the government for, please, can I have $80,000 free money to build my whatever? Use this currency. Now, if you're showing how you're giving back to the country instead of taking from it, it will balance. If you just take that and just cash out every once in a while, buy yourself a house, a car, and bullshit, then it's going to knock the economy off because everybody's going to be in a virtual world and not dealing in the reality world, in my opinion. You know.
Let me tell you something. How was, let's just, I don't have too much, but I just want to go in real quick.
Yes.
How do you think the NFT space has influenced you? Like, do you think it's a game changer?
Yes. Yes. And I give you a perfect example. The Tory Lanez situation.
Yo, let me tell you that it blew his mind away. Even he was like,
yeah. Because I'm sure when his advisor told him, yo, do this, and he probably said, but you know what did he have to lose? All right, because once you got a bad name in the game, you may not sell another record in your life. Okay, you just shot somebody in the foot that's a superstar, so you got instant hate from that whole fan base, and then from everybody making you an abuser of women or whatever it is. You got a pile of trash on your head. And you reach out and cut the ring off the devil and say, hey, everybody buy my album for $1. There's only 1 million of them available. Okay. So all his fan base that remains buys the album for $1. And then that project now, through them just blasting that and saying Tory Lanez makes $1 million, now that album is worth, because why? Because it's historical now. So the person who bought that for $1 can go say, yo, you want this Tory Lanez collector's item that I have? I'll give it to you for 5 Ethereum. I'll give it to you for half a Bitcoin. You guess again, Tory Lanez gets paid again. And the artist that paid $1 now just made ridiculous amount of money. So of course this is a game changer.
Almost 30,000. Because ETH is
correct.
Like $1,000, so
I always think about 50 Cent when we're talking about when I'm talking about Bitcoin, because right. 50 was another great example. He didn't even know what he was doing, and right. he happened to look, and he had $7 million worth of Bitcoin, and he didn't even know.
Correct. Because because you got to remember, when you miss the boat a couple of times, you know, all of the stuff that's now popular, we saw from the beginning. Okay, When PlayStation came out, we could have put money in Sony and just sat. But everybody buys the machines and don't think about the investment. All right. So whoever your advisors are, again, elders, advisors, people that are wise. If your advisor comes and say, yo, man, the new thing is happening. I want you to buy 12 of these Bitcoins and don't touch the money. Just let it ride up and down and trust me. You need that. If you got to pay for it, if you got to just search deep in your Rolodex to find who you can trust, you need that solid advisor.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You need that. You need that.
Let me ask you, what are some NFT projects besides Tory Lanez that you've seen that were impressive?
Mark Cuban creating the auction that he created. He created a place. He didn't go and compete. He went and said, right? Everybody come, huh?
He created like a platform or something?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh.
So he created a platform so now people can come to him and buy NFTs, which is the wisest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're buying and exchanging yourself. You're not saying, hey, I'm the big money guy. Y'all come give me some more money. He was already out there buying and participating. He made the market popular. Okay? He was buying little Space Invader looking icons for crazy amounts of money. Okay? And people, damn, why Mark Cuban doing that? If he's doing that, then I'm gonna do it. Look at the psyche of that. So these guys helped build the market. They were spending all of this Bitcoin. So like a 50 Cent, if you have $7 million of Bitcoin sitting, that's like play money. That's like when my son plays NBA Live with the little coins. You just rip through the money. So you could go put it in other places and say, well, let me help build a market. Because, this is a way to say F the system as well. Okay? Because you're making money off the grid. Look, this is a place where you can send 50,000 Ethereum and you don't have no red flag. Okay, you try to send $50,000 somewhere. And what's going to happen? Red flag. Instant. Okay? So in this world, you can just transfer as much as you want every day. Right now, it's in play money mode, but you can turn it into real dough. So this is a way for artists to get what you deserve. Okay? If you draw, if you write scripts, whatever it is, this is where you get in and get your money and lean off the government. Lend off going to ask any kind of labels for anything. Deliver your packages nice and ready, mastered and ready to go. Be sufficient on your own. That's the whole thing about this country. If you're not a business, they don't see you as anything. They see you like an animal, especially black people. They write you in their mind as 3/5 a man. That never changed. So you should have your business up, and you don't even have a color on your business. Your business is just powerful and winning and successful. There's no room for prejudice in that. Even a Trump would have to respect that. Anybody who had a business during that whole pandemic thing was sitting very happy if they had their business up and running. Okay? Even if you lost customers or whatever, you got bread out of that. Okay? So if you set up as a business, it's showing you, the country is showing you. We want to merge with companies. We don't want to tend to 1 million citizens and be throwing out all kind of extra assistance or whatever. So the wise thing to do is, let me go to another grid where no one can see me. You could be an avatar.
Yeah.
Move around this bad boy, networking, making money, all kinds of shit, and fund whatever you want. Milk that before they govern that. Milk that.
Let me ask you one last thing. So let's say an NFT artist, specifically in music, is coming into this game and they're real interested in the whole NFT thing. They don't know anything about it. And I'm not talking about the technical side. I'm just talking about overall, their purpose. They got to understand that, going into the NFT space means that you're creating a community. What kind of advice would you give an artist who's so new to this? They don't understand why they should do an NFT, and if they do, how can they actually, bring awareness to it? What advice would you give somebody that, wanted to do that?
Very good question. The best advice that I can give artists is to become living currency. Okay? That's how you have to see this process. All right? So you're not trying to overcharge your super fan base. Okay? Don't come in with a picture for 3 Bitcoins coming into this thing. Okay? We just spoke on Tory Lane. $1 for all of his fans. Made $1 million for that dude within what, 24 hours, 48 hours? He didn't overcharge the ones who were still riding with him.
57 seconds, Brother J. 57 seconds.
Yes, sir. So I'll be brief. Don't overcharge your people. Play the market, learn first before you follow someone else's story. A lot of stuff is hype, but the market is real. That's what I would tell them, sis.
Well said. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Indeed, so.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate you dropping knowledge about NFT, especially Black empowerment and so many different things like that. I kind of want to take us back a little bit to your story, as far as your story with hip hop. I want to dive into that just for a moment. One of the things I want to talk about, more importantly, who were your influences musically when you were growing up, and what are some of your early influences in the hip hop?
People that I guess people that other folks would know about, like George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. I love their instrument connection. Okay. It was different. The way that they played instruments that everybody else played, they just took it somewhere else. The melodies, the harmonies, it wasn't R&B, it wasn't rock, it wasn't any of that. It was its own, and it had a bass in the pocket that Black people really love. That was our music. You know what I'm saying? I think it was its own genre, if you ask me. But artists like that, I listen to everything under the sun, bro. Isley Brothers, the costumes that they wore, you know what I'm saying? The type of, the type of composition that they did. I love real music, when I feel it from their soul. So those, the same level of artists that we sampled through the years, even Billy Squire, somebody, white boy, rock man type thing. I admire the way he put his compositions together. You know what I'm saying? So my music love is vast. I'm inspired universally, good brother. Okay.
Who were your hip hop influences? I know you did mention some of the soul artists and some of the funk bands, which I know you did mention that you was talking about funk earlier, but who are some of the more hip hop influences?
I was amazed by a lot of artists. You know who I liked when I was young, man? I like Melly Mel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I like Melly Mel on a live performance tip because he was unpredictable. Okay, he was sort of like how the energy of DMX was.
Okay. Yes.
All right. How unpredictable DMX was in life. You didn't know what Melly was gonna do, and I liked people like that who kept people on the edge. You know what I'm saying? And then rock the house on top of it. So it's not like you kept them on the edge and then bullshitted them. You kept them on the edge and then hit them in the head with some dope shit. I liked him for that. I like KRS as a boogeyman in hip hop. Back then, I liked how he was if you don't have it, don't come in the game. You might bump into me. I love that about him. And then I love what Chuck D was doing before they became known as like a super Black group. I love the organize, get down, and the production of early Public Enemy. That was inspiring. You know what I'm saying? So I just leave it at those so you can get an idea. Yeah.
Okay. What made you decide to get into the hip hop game, become an MC? What influenced you to do that?
it was needed, my Lord, because I used to beatbox for artists. I used to DJ for artists before I rhymed, and I just felt there wasn't enough intelligence in lyrics. I would hear lyrics from people all day long, and never got. And only time I really heard dope lyrics was when I was rhyming or beatboxing for the gods, you know, or for people that were in a different walk of life. If they were an Israelite or Muslim or you know, just had a different regimen in their lifestyle. That was the only time I was really seeing different lyrics. But those dudes never got light. You know what I'm saying? Those dudes never, because they're not recording people. You know what I'm saying? If you're in an organization or a movement or some kind of religious thought system, you're not studying the music game. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to dive into some kind of pop lifestyle. So those dudes would never see the light of day. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the best 5% MCs that I knew back then was A-Sun, the ODB, y'all call him.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Lord Jamal yesterday, and I said, yo, he was one of the best guard body MCs in the game, you know, in New York. And for them to just put this, you know, old dirty, wild out persona around him, you know, was entertaining for some, but you know, to us, we just wanted to see the guard come out and be number one. You know what I'm saying? Just for who he was. He was a well-spoken dude. I didn't really know him on the wild, crazy shit. I don't know if he was on drugs or anything, but you know, it just wasn't the same God that used to come with a clear mind and busting the math and the lyrics, and that loose flow was all with the math. It was different. You know, so you know, artists like that, you know, inspired me back in the days, because he was like a battle MC with that looseness and that freestyle. And I watched him burn a lot of dudes in half, bro. You know, Kane was one of them. You know, there was a lot of different guards that bust in the city that were inspiring, and they were all on their dean at one time. Because remember, cursing and all of that wasn't popular. You couldn't get on radio if you were cursing a lot. So, you know, so cats had to really have bars in order to be recognized in our city in New York. So many people, dog, millions and millions of people, and you stand out as the one. That's a heavy, heavy responsibility.
No doubt.
So which hip hop song made you kind of fall in love with hip hop? Made you want to do this? Not just it was a need, but what song really reeled you in and was like, I can do that?
You know what? Being truthful, it wasn't any kind of hip hop song. I wasn't lyrically, I wasn't really impressed by anyone to push me. It was rock music that rock music inspired me to do what I do more, because their lyrics are profound in that genre. If you really listen, I know it's stretched out and they be hollering sometimes and going through things, but it's very deep, intense lyricism in rock music, you know. So I didn't really, it wasn't a lot of stuff to really look in hip hop in that depth. So that inspired me to not be afraid to put my poetry, because I was writing like a scientific poetry. I probably would have been like a spoken word dude or something, you know, if I didn't, you know, join the movement and get into hip hop more. But I didn't see anything in hip hop that was really hitting the content to inspire me to be where I'm at. I would have to give that more to rock bands. They really inspired me to do a little bit more as far as how I write and put my content.
Which ones?
I listened to Led Zeppelin. I listened to Jimi Hendrix. I listened to Pearl Jam, Soundgarden.
Oh yeah.
I can keep rolling. You know what I'm saying?
The Clash.
I love the Eagles. I used to love.
You already know. They squoze a lot of pain and, you know, happiness and deep shit. You know, very artistically, man. And I have to give them that. You know, even remember the group. What was it? Living Color, the black rock group. What was? Yes,
they were dope too. They were dope.
That was a dope ass group. They were very deep in my inspiration. I rotated that record. Lenny Kravitz. I used to rock his music from day one. I liked how he mixed. You know, I listen to music for different reasons, not just for my pleasure. It's scientifically you listen to music sometimes, you know, checking out what kind of EQs, thinking about what kind of equipment they use, you know what I'm saying, if they use tube equipment or digital thing, you kind of play with it a little bit, you know. So rock music was definitely more to explore, if you will. You know?
I love that you said that because I just had a conversation with a friend of mine, Rocker, and he was saying the exact same thing. He told me it's not always about pleasure. Sometimes you've got to dig deeper than the pleasure and find the frequency. And
that's right.
I appreciate you saying that. You just proved them right. Now I gotta send them $10 for lunch.
That's right. He gave you some good wisdom on that one. That's the truth. That's straight truth. Indeed. I love this interview, y'all. Y'all have very good questions.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself because we are delighted.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
So here's when this is all over.
Yes.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Someone that did their part. That's all I really need. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here. There's no album that can save our people. There's no words that could come out of my mouth. I just want to do my part, you know, just as a reminder of how great we are. And then when we're great, the world will follow. When we're slack, the world follows that. But when we're great, the world will follow. And that's what I want them to get from what's happening in my cipher, you know.
So when we talk about where we are right now, because I think you're absolutely correct about when we're great, the world is great, because I feel we need a reset. We just really need a reset, because if you notice, as all of this extra stuff that's happening in our communities and the breaking up of the communities and the gentrification of our communities, even as a country, as our communities decline, the country declines.
That's right. That's right. That's right. If we improved, the property values would improve. You know what I'm saying? And we start owning where the value is up. Now we have power. Exactly. Now when the communities meet, we matter because we own. We keep renting from a master that owns a land. The land goes to the meeting that decides about the community. But when we own, we are the people that you have to address. And the bigger that understanding is, that is the nation that we are trying to build. That was the Black Power and, you know, bringing it together with the fists and all of that. That's what that was all about. You know, a nation. We can't have a nation if we don't own. And we still under master's thumb. We just whispering in the shack, you know, whispering to each other. We should have platforms to speak boldly and proudly about what's going on. And it doesn't always have to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? It could be like, yo, I have goods, I have fruits, I have medicines that you can't make. I got clothing that breaks the same old standard. You know, we live in a Euro standard with clothing. We keep wearing their shit. We never say this is our cut. This is something that fits my body better. Don't give me Mick Jagger's pants and I got Shaq's body. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that with me. So when we gather, you know, what we consume and all of that stuff, it becomes a recycling. Okay? This is what Israelite math teaches you, how to recycle. All right? You put into Somebody has fish, you get your fish from them. You don't go to 5 different other places. I don't like their fish. It's too salty. You go tell them how you like your shit, and they have it prepared for you because you're in the community. That's what it is. Same thing with the clothes and the whole shit. So imagine if that was in a circle and you're not going to Macy's. You're not going to Target. You're not going to any of this. You're not going running to the doctor. You're going to a healer, okay, that wants you to stay balanced and not make you sicker to keep coming back. We're behind, okay? So that takes time, and we can't ask the government to fund that. Give me reparations so I can build what I'm supposed to be doing. That doesn't make any sense. Give me money to build what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. And by the way, fuck you too. That's bad.
I was really surprised to find out that in addition to buying property, you could actually buy cities. Like a whole city. I didn't know that.
Yes, you can.
There's actually cities for sale where you own the whole town. You know what I'm saying? The people are just still living there in their own homes, but you own the whole town. I was like mind blown.
Cool. And who's gonna get that? Foreigners, people that are not of U.S. soil are gonna get that.
Exactly.
Okay. I was surprised when Detroit was so down and it was a ghost town. I thought somebody was going to buy that up. I thought somebody was going to buy that entire city already ready with car automation building and all kind of stuff. I thought somebody was going to snatch that whole entire town up. It was scary. Detroit was a powerful town, 85% black at one time. Yeah. So it's like when things like that happen, why are we not calling and saying, yo, we need your credit. We need your cash. We need your whatever. Come on, let's go get this. Wakanda. Wakanda won.
That's it. Yeah, that's the way.
But we don't trust each other. That's the problem. And we
were taught not to trust each other. I mean, it's been well ingrained in us that we are not to be trusted. We were taught it in school. We were taught it in church. We were taught that. So
yeah, but to add to your point,
you got to break all of that.
Indeed, to add to your point, we're seeing each other in the most desperate of times and living and critical living. So we're seeing the most diabolical sides of ourselves just to stay alive. So that's why we don't trust each other. If we were at peace, we would love each other. But the fact that we're always pressured, we live a nervous energy. Okay. And that automatically puts a distrust. Man, they acting a little nervous, like suspect. And you grow up with that through generations. Like you're behind the curtain of the stereotype and you see Black people for real. You're not seeing Black people at peace. Okay. You see them pressed down, walking out. Damn, I hope nobody popped me today. Either robbing me or the police checking me at the stoplight. You walking between your own and the beast at all times. So we always see each other in nervousness and ruthlessness. Okay. When you get to a place, look, if we own several blocks in our community and stressed peace as our own law, we don't need no outside police. We don't need none of this. There are people who do that in our face here in America. Okay. There are people that do that. And I don't have to call their names out and I don't want to be called for bashing and all this other thing. But there are people that do that. They own sections of the neighborhood and they walk in peace. Okay. They don't have no problem trusting each other because they already got the bread and the land. They don't trip. And their money recycles in their community. They don't step outside of it. Now they together own everything. Okay. We gave that system to people. Okay. So now that the information is available to us, what is stopping us from putting forth the action? Now that you know that we are the original people, what are we going to do about it? That's the biggest question of everything. That's when you see those people taking action those are the people that you want to comrade with. It's the action, not the talkers, man. If they ain't doing shit, man, let them stay in their home. You know, build with the real, and then what we're talking about will manifest. That's all our effort has ever been. Anybody who wears that liberation flag, that's all the effort is of that flag.
Yeah.
Bring it back home.
Bring it back home. Yes.
Real shit. Real shit.
Perfect.
Indeed.
This is protected by the red, the black, and the green with the key.
Real deal.
The name of the show is Powaful Impact. So, name 3 people, either personally or professionally, that was a powerful impact in your life.
3 people.
Mm-hmm.
My father, my mother, and my elders as a collective for the 3rd.
I don't think people lean as much on the elders as they should. And I go back to some of the things my grandmother said, and I've said them to my daughter, because there's nothing she said to me that was not true. And one of the best things she told me, and I try to tell this to everybody, is you 1 amendment away from picking cotton, so you better pay attention.
Facts.
Real talk. Woo! That's the jewel of the day. That's right. I must respect to her spirit. That is science. That's bars right there. That's bars. I'm gonna have to put that in the song right there.
Absolutely. So what do you have? So what do you have left on your bucket list? Like some things that you want to complete. I know you talk about how you want to be remembered. What are some things that's in your heart that you still want to complete? And
I want to get this museum up for the committee to honor Black heroes. Okay. I think that that's something we've been working on now, building the content for it. But I physically want it up where people can walk through and really see the different dimensions of Blackness. You know, they pick and choose what they want to celebrate as a holiday and all this other thing. But I don't think we have enough of a map. You know what I'm saying? So creating that virtually and physically is probably my strongest bucket list thing right now.
Okay. So they made Juneteenth a holiday. Now, Juneteenth is something we've celebrated in Texas forever because, it was the Texas holiday.
Yeah.
Because it was the day we found out we were free, and that was like 2 years after everybody else.
Right.
And every state has their own Juneteenth.
Right.
What do you think about them making this just a universal free the slaves kind of holiday when it's inaccurate?
Yeah, I don't like it because I don't need their permission to do what it is. You know, I really learned more about Juneteenth when I moved to the West. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really something that was strong in New York that I can remember. You know what I'm saying? So I learned more when I came out West what was happening. And I thought it was just good that it was a sacred space for us. It wasn't something that had to be recognized. People made time to come to Juneteenth and celebrate and barbecue and dance and do whatever it is. We made it our own, you know, because it's really not a good look. You know, it shouldn't have never been no slavery for us to celebrate us getting out of. So, there's pros and cons to that situation. So they should really mind their business and let us make out of it what we need to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like we made Christmas and Thanksgiving our own shit. That's family gathering and gift giving. You know, we slowly transitioning into Kwanzaa and all, but people have been programmed with Christmas too long. you know. So we, you know, again, we have to make things our own and stick to it consistently and say, we don't celebrate it like that. And I don't need to take another day off my check, you know, for whatever I'm doing, you know, to acknowledge me, you know, for some shit that should never have happened. Y'all, there shouldn't have been no slavery in here. And, you know, and we never really were free. So for y'all to acknowledge that, and y'all can't change, you know, the brutality laws and how these people are served for disrespecting us, you know, save the holiday, put that money towards something else that gets us a little bit more free, you know, instead of more reason to be lazy and shit, you know. But that's just in my opinion. No, I don't know everything.
I was of the same opinion, but I was seen to be outvoted by every other superstar on the face of the earth. I felt the same way because, I mean, a lot of people don't, nobody actually asked
yes
us how we felt about it, you
That's
know,
correct.
and they never asked about the traditions.
Yes.
And so they just destroying to me what actually meant something to us, you know. It was a way that we celebrated our ancestors who struggled and who survived. They were not victims, they were survivors. They did that. And they survived Jim Crow. They survived all of this, and we honored them. And it was specific foods, it was specific drinks, it was it meant something. And I think now that it's a national holiday, it kind of took some of what was special about it away, because we all Black people at any job in Texas on Juneteenth, we wasn't there.
That's right.
Now everybody ain't there. Now we got to share our space.
Yeah, because now it's a national holiday. That means everybody dips in, and it's not everybody's business. We have no sacred space, and I can't stand that. And I'm surprised nobody stood up and said, yo, we don't need that. Put that bill back. These are some things that we need. That's what we were talking earlier about that list. All right. If we got 2 million signatures, we can say we don't need no damn Juneteenth. We want to add this, you know, we want to do this, and we can really maneuver whatever you feel Black is. We can really show you what it is by us as a force. And if we have our own electorate power, then that's a whole different basket. That means we got to control the land with the oil, the land that's fertile, that grows the crops. If we're a major source of food provision and a resource that the country uses, then the conversation with us is different. Okay, we trying to give power to say, yo, man, you used to whip me, you whipped my ass on the plantation, dog. You whipped my grandmother. I want some money. And then what you go do with the money? You go to their shit and buy their commercial products and all of that? Come on, man. Come on.
Got to be producers.
It's bad. It's bad. They gave the Native Americans all, you know, the reparations and shit. Those reservations look like projects. Them places should be the most glorified places in the world. Them places look like projects. It's like you took them backwards giving reparations. That's crazy as hell. To me. That's crazy as hell. There's no way in the world you would hand these people money and not without them having a plan of how to use that. You're not sitting there and educating them on what it takes to keep that money flowing right. You're gonna give it to them and have them live lowest, and then do a casino where you still got to give back. I give you something, but you still got to give me back through federal tax and all kind of shit. You should be exempt on 1,000 levels. So we got to have a plan. We can't get reparations and considerations without having a plan. And if we don't trust each other, back to the trust point, then we'll never get that. This will be hearsay. And we'll always point the finger at, it's his fault. It's her fault that we're not rising where we are. Come on, man. We programmed. We need to really detox right now, you know?
Yeah,
I agree.
I think one of the big things is they have convinced us to want things that aren't important. So our neighborhoods fell apart because they convinced us that we wanted to move into the suburbs. We wanted to be a part because that looked so much better than where we were.
That's right.
And instead of building up where we were, we let it fall to the wayside. And now we're all so separated that it's hard to build a solid community because they've torn down everything that was us. So question is, where do you even start? You know, they've torn, I think the biggest thing they've done wrong is tearing down all of the community, because now everybody's so spread out. Who do you shop from? I have to go look on the internet to find a black store.
Yeah, no doubt. Nobody bought that. Nobody bought the property. They got tired of paying rent that kept increasing. And they just had to say, yo, I'm not getting the business that matches me renting this place. Again, the landlord ruling and governing how we build. So you got the product, you got the people coming in, but the master wants more for his land. So the real thing was to buy the land first. Okay, we do it. We doing it backwards. We getting the idea, come and rent to show off our ideas. We supposed to buy the land first, buy the building first, and then put your business in the building and say, no one can kick me out of here. No one, you know, that's sovereignty that you need, self-created. Okay, if you got enough money to buy product and get your business rolling, you got to build up the credit to get the building. You got to get it. We spend more time trying to get the credit and white label a product and continue to push somebody else's situation. We got to get the land first. I'm learning that.
Exactly. You're right. You got to get the land.
You got to. It makes no sense. You build the studio, you build these grounds, and you paying rent every time you making $1, you're giving it to someone else, saying thank you for doing what I was supposed to be doing for myself. That's crazy. We think backwards. So you know, it's a lot with this deprogramming. Like I said, it's not about just music. You know, the Klan was an influence in several areas. Don't go for it. Don't go for everything. Every dollar ain't good. We could have took those checks and been whatever it is, but we weren't playing that kind of game coming into this. You know, our record success has to be to a certain level to where it doesn't burn us out, and it doesn't look like we're the lowest of the totem pole. It has to be a balance. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be aware of that. You know, once it goes sideways, then you got to break it up, and that's why I broke up the Klan, because I felt that the industry started to mess with a lot of people in our circle's heads. You know what I'm saying? No matter what your discipline is, it can be broken. You know what I'm saying? If you're not strong, your discipline can be broken. This system is meant to break you at all times. Okay, so when you're living in the pleasure principle with all this music and hoopla and all this other thing, yo, man, you can lose yourself and be like, yo, when is this moment gonna ever happen again? You know, I better get all of it. I better drink all the liquor. I better see all the women. I better do all of this. Come on, man. That wasn't your regimen coming in. And when you get to that point, it's time to take a break. Okay? Your audience will always love you if they were sincere to you. You are missing nothing. Okay? When certain artists come out, they can take 10 years to put an album out, and they come out, the stadium is full. You got to have faith in your artistry like that, or why are you in this? Period. If you don't have staying power, why are you in this? It doesn't make any sense. You're fooling yourself if you don't have staying power.
That's right.
Very true.
Real talk.
If you weren't in music at all, what do you think? What other project you think you'd be in, or career, or space? Let's say music wasn't the option.
I think I would be a farmer.
Okay.
100. My family raised me between New York and Alabama and Georgia. I used to tend to a farm, and I loved that piece, growing my own food, and you know, it was a different environment. You know what I'm saying? And I know I would have did that. I know I would have did that to the fullest, man.
Farmer at heart.
You're
that's what I do now.
That's kind of where I was raised. My dad always believed that if anything, well, what he used to tell us is when these white folks turn on us, we got horses and we got chickens and we gonna eat and we gonna be able to get to where we want to go. And so we've always had livestock, and we've always had some sort of land that if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, you already know where to go.
That's what you do.
And as a family, we know where to go, and we know how to hunt, and we know how to fish, and we know how to survive if all hell breaks loose.
That's correct. And come on, how we go from that to renting somebody's, penthouse in Manhattan or whatever. No backyard, no place to grow anything. How we end up that? There was a generation that left that understanding that our grandparents had and our great grandparents, and they started to want to compete in this city like they were missing something. To be self-efficient is the goal for all of us. What our grandparents had, we need. But now the fast life is so much in our vein now. You can't go down there and just hear the crickets and the frogs and be, just doing the food work and be satisfied. You want the hi-fi, TV, this, that, and the other, and all that. And not that you can't have it. You know what I'm saying? That's what people need to understand. You right to know. If you go down there and say, yo, man, my farm is going to be super, technology or whatever it is, you right to know. You do that. It doesn't have to be primitive. You don't have to go live in a log cabin and live in the country. You can start a city. Yep. All right. If you and several other people buy acres and acres of land, guess what you are doing? You are building your own city.
That's the key.
We are thinking backwards. We got to get this land because they're going to snatch it from us, man. This is chemical warfare now. That's on us. And then when everybody starts buying their land, trying to escape out of country like it's going to be better, this is a world problem. All right, you're not escaping it leaving the U.S. Okay, so you better think right now. Let me take my resources and let me go out on my property rather than somebody walking me out of my apartment and put me in a quarantine zone. Get out of here.
And make sure your property has water.
That's right.
Water.
If you're a landowner, you got rights. They ain't coming to pull you out of your house if you're a landowner.
They won't. I know
they ain't doing that. That's real talk. Yep. But if you're renting somebody else's shit and the landowner says, well, everybody evacuate, we're going with the mandate of the country right now, that landowner is choosing to empty his property and you have to follow suit. But if you own your land, you're not going to walk up knock on your door. You can't even get past my gate. Don't come up in here. My dogs will eat you like you're an animal in the woods or something. Don't come near my property. We need to have that kind of energy, and I'll get down.
My shotgun have a wide spray.
Okay.
There you go.
I only want to say your shotgun. I already know.
I wasn't going to say it. You said it.
I know how SP gets down.
That's right.
We do not promote violence on the Powaful Impact Show.
We're not.
I'm from Texas, so a gun is another appendage to us.
Exactly.
We were raised to respect firearms, so
that's right.
It's not about violence. It's about
protection,
self-defense,
and it's about making sure that when you step on this property, you know who the hell it belonged to.
That's right.
Bow, move from the gate now.
Yep, that's right. Boom.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we thank you, Brother J, for hanging out with us tonight. We had a very exciting conversation. Yes. And, you know, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about Black empowerment. We talked Black empowerment. We talked about land ownership. We talked about NFTs. We really dived deep tonight into some of diverse topics, which is great because I think our audience need to hear more than just about hip hop. They need to learn about land ownership. They need to know the value of NFTs. And so this was an educational moment as well. And I feel in a certain sense it was a spiritual moment because, you know, I feel like the things you said touch our spirit as we continue to grow in knowledge and continue to grow in unity as Black people and people in hip hop as a whole. And so I just want to thank you for everything you shared tonight. I didn't know if you want to say anything, SP or Goddess, but I just want to thank you for everything you shared tonight on the platform.
Thank you so much. I mean, I enjoyed this conversation. I think that you really open up a lot of eyes for a lot of people. You know, you are definitely a legend, and it was such a pleasure being able to talk to you. Thank you.
Blessings. Thank you. Thank you.
And I really want to say the knowledge that I've gained and the knowledge that I seek started because you existed. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I just want to say, Brother J, man, you've had a powerful impact. There's a lot that I want to say, and it's not going to be able to be summarized, but you've had a powerful impact on me, and I know that you've had a powerful impact on everybody here, and you will have a powerful impact when this airs. There's no question about that. It's ripple effect. And then I just, you know, kind of want to lighten up a little bit for my West Indians and Jamaicans or whatever. I'm sure from Atlantic Avenue to Flatbush, as far as you go, Brother J, this ain't they love what you do. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. 21 gunshot salute for you, brother.
All right.
You did it. You know what I'm saying? But Powaful Impak does not promote violence, but we do promote self-defense.
Okay.
Move from the gate, man.
Well, we appreciate it. Absolutely.
And I hope you come back again because I think this is needed more than anything else that we do.
I agree.
That we need the knowledge. And I appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to.
Oh, I was going to say, we didn't ask him to promote any stuff. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I was going to say, promote.
No, I was just saying, when we dropped the documentary and the 30th anniversary album, I definitely will come back and we can chop it up.
Oh, yeah, we'll love it. Please do that for us.
I can't wait. I can't
wait. I'm so excited about the documentary.
Me too.
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you.
And Wheels of Steel, for real. Wheels of Steel and new music, Brother J. Anything coming through, let us know. Music and all of that.
I definitely give you the heads up.
All right.
Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Powaful Impak podcast with Soul Rack, SP, Neb, and Goddess, featuring the one and only Brother J from the X-Clan, and also, you know, for sharing knowledge with us tonight. We ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay connected to upcoming episodes and follow us on social media. Remember, Powaful Impak is more than music. It's a way of life.
That's right.
Brother J, share your social media with them. How can they get in contact with you and your movements and everything?
Thank you.
Just check for us on X-Clan Worldwide on the Instagram and Facebook platform. And we'll have the other platforms, the Clubhouse and I forgot the name of the other one. There's so many new platforms, but I'll send you all of the addresses and everything so you can
Twitter,
share.
IG, Twitter,
Facebook. I don't really do Twitter too much. I'm more on the Instagram and the Facebook. Okay. You know, I guess that's old school and shit. But most of my people gather to me on those mediums and whatnot. So check us out there. X-Clan Worldwide page is building up. And then I'm at BroJ.XClan as well. So either one of those, you'll have some info about what's happening, updates, and all of that.
And don't forget to follow him on Fanbase.
Exactly.
Because I think Fanbase is another place that people need to be aware of. Because if you're going to build up Facebook, you should build up Fanbase.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Black I'll look into that. We're trying to put our own site together, but I think the the sovereignty that I want. I don't think that technology exists like that. There's a couple of people that take advantage. I think David Icke and then Seven Bomir kind of have that that sovereignty level that I want, where you can't tear me off the page if I say something, you know, that's profound for my people and bad for others. So so I will fish around. I will check out the fan base as you're telling me as well.
Yeah, because you actually have to buy it, pay for it to actually hear what you want to say. And so
that's what's up. I'll check it out. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Brother J, we definitely gonna keep in contact. Love you, Brother J. Love X-Clan. Rest in power to Professor X. To the Shaft. Rest in power, man. Sonny Carson. Yo, all of the forefathers, all the ancestors that have had a powerful impact on us, man. We just here trying to carry on tradition and keep the torch lit.
That's what's up, man. Y'all, much success to your program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Y'all be safe.
All right, we out.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Peace.